I'm so delighted to introduce our own Greenwich's Mudita Bhagava, who is calling in today from Philadelphia. Dita is also running. She would like to take her place in the legislature in Hartford in the fall. She's running against Fred Camillo. She's the Democrat. She's an activist in our local community. And I guess, Dita, you were invited to the convention.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for having me on the show.
I
am. I was invited to the convention. It's been very exciting so far. We're just a couple of hours in on the starting day, and the convention is fired up. People are pretty fired up and pretty excited for the week's speakers, and it's exciting to be here.
I know it is. I've been there. It's a thrill. I've been to conventions before, and I love it. I'm sorry I'm not there with you. Dita, let me ask you something. Are you there as a supporter of a particular candidate along the way?
You know, I'm a supporter of Hillary Clinton. She is going to be our candidate. As Democrats, we need to get behind her, not only because she is such an experienced and competent candidate, but also equally because, I strongly believe, and I think many would agree, that the alternative is an unknown and almost, you could say, dangerous. He's had a lot of rhetoric around hate. And that's just not productive. We need somebody who is positive about our country and wants to make change, but is also appreciative of who we are and what our future holds. So I am, yes, 100% behind whoever the Democratic candidate's going to be.
Well, do you think there's any doubt that it's going to be Hillary Clinton, given the protests and the acrimony going on now between Sanders and Clinton delegates?
So I have no doubt. Senator Sanders earlier today sent out a message to all his supporters to get behind Hillary Clinton. He's going to be speaking later today. I have no doubt that he's going to be supportive. I think he also understands that the object now is for the Democratic Party to win this election because, again, he's very supportive of how competent Hillary Clinton is, but also is very aware of what the alternatives might mean for the future of our country.
What I heard from Rita Cosby in the last hour, we're chatting with Dita Bhagava, is that a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters that are protesting outside the walls of the convention told her that they'll stay home if they can't vote for their candidate. They won't vote for Donald Trump, but they won't vote at all. So how are you going to persuade them to show up in November?
Look, I think it's still very early in the game. I think once this convention is over and Democrats realize, both Sanders supporters and obviously Clinton supporters, that she is the elected nominee and what the alternative is, that I do think that most of them, if not all of them, will get behind her. I think Senator Sanders is going to rally that base. He did a very good job rallying his base for his own campaign, and I have no doubt that they will understand what's at stake here.
Were you surprised yourself personally to see the emails, and were there any that stood out to you?
I was surprised. It's unfortunate, but what surprises me even more, and what I think is much more of a concern, is the news that's coming out that this possibly was a situation where the Russians had hacked into the emails and into the security in Washington and the Democratic National Committee security, and had obtained these in order to give Donald Trump a boost. That, to me, is much more scary than what's actually happened with these emails. Of course, it was wrong, but I think if Donald Trump is being courted by the Russians and they are undermining our security to boost his popularity, that's very scary to me.
It is. It is as yet unproven, but it is certainly a rumor that was reported by me just a couple of minutes ago. It would be very troubling if it were true. And of course, again, as I said, it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but that doesn't mean it's not true, right? So we don't really know. I mean, that's the thing.
Right.
We don't really know.
Right.
Because we do know that the Russians have been successful in hacking into other of official government sites, but so have the Chinese. Apparently it doesn't take much to infiltrate emails.
And that's really something that needs to be addressed. But I guess late last week, just hours before the records were released by WikiLeaks, the White House had also convened and had discussed reports that Russia had hacked into the system, into the Democratic National Committee system. So it seems something beyond just a possibility. I mean, it's very coincidental. But in any case,
I agree.
Yes,
I agree.
Concerning.
It's very troubling. It's very concerning. It's also very concerning, notwithstanding Donna Brazil's apology, that somebody would have crafted messages against Bernie Sanders and completely betrayed their role of neutrality in the process.
Right. I totally agree, and that's why we had the resignation of Walterman Schultz, and that was the right thing to do. Absolutely, it's troubling. I totally agree that this is a democratic process, and that's what we represent. So it's really unfortunate that had unfolded.
It's probably, go ahead.
But I think her resignation kind of exemplifies the fact that they know that they had made a mistake and that this will not be tolerated.
Well, not by replacing her with Donna Brazil, because Donna Brazil might as well be Hillary Clinton in different clothes. So I don't know.
Right.
I would anticipate
a temporary replacement.
Right. Well, let's see what happens. Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Now, in terms of what you're hearing and seeing among, who are the people that came from Greenwich, from Connecticut, that traveled to Philadelphia as part of the Connecticut delegation?
Right. There are many people here. Tomorrow there's a lunch that both our senators, are Blumenthal and Murphy, are hosting for the Connecticut delegation. I think most of the Congress people will be there as well. I've met several of the delegate team. A few of them are my friends, and they have been people who have been very true to the Democratic Party in Connecticut. And they're pretty fired up. And, we think today's events will just be sort of a bump in the road. But, inside the convention room, it's people are very excited.
And where are you? Are you among only Hillary Clinton supporters? Are you among delegates from both sides? Where are you hanging out?
I'm really a guest. I'm here to sort of witness what's going on. I'm here to be a part of the convention, and as you can hear the cheering behind me, this is all really exciting to me. This is my first time attending a convention, so really I'm here just as a witness to what goes on, but also supporting our candidate. I'm excited to hear Michelle Obama speak today, amongst others. She's obviously a very inspirational speaker, and Senator Sanders will be speaking as well. And I think both of them will really will do great things to start off this week. So I'm really here just to be part of the experience.
We're chatting with Dita Bhagava, who is running herself a campaign versus Fred Camillo in Greenwich in order to be able to be a state representative in Hartford in November. One of the things that came out, I don't know if you got to see this article by Nicholas Confessori in the Times, but it talked about the details with which the DNC very precisely invited people to this convention and how much money you had to give to the DNC in order to take your rightful place. Are you a donor to the DNC?
I'm not. I'm not here as a donor. I'm here as a friend, as a guest, as someone who has, shown moral and support to the Democratic Party, and also as a member of Connecticut Democrats. So no, I have not given any money to be here today.
So there it is. So that's why I like to, get things out, because there are so many reports in the media that are not necessarily accurate, and it's important to get out the truth versus the not truth. So some people that are there are donors, and other people that are there are not donors, right?
Right. Absolutely. There's a whole variety of people here. I'm not sure who the donors are and who are not, but there are a whole variety of people here, people from all walks of life, people from all socioeconomic walks of life. So I think it's a pretty diverse group. And you know how the media goes, Lisa. You can't believe, probably not forget about everything. Probably half of what they say is exaggerated. And, it's unfortunate, but I think it's an issue.
Oh, it's totally an issue. And I'll tell you, at the Republican National Convention, there were more media by far than there were protesters. So people had to figure out stories how to write. In other words, you have to come up with something if you're a newspaper reporter, and you have to file something something by 5 p.m. You got to, if you can't find it, it's almost as if you have to make it up, and
Right.
or at least exaggerate it. If not make it up completely, exaggerate it into something else. And that's why I like to go with my own eyes and ears.
Yeah, and really, an ideal world, the media would not have any biases, but as we know, that is not true at all. And when you're writing,
right,
when you're writing from a point of view of a bias, it's of course a lot of it is going to be exaggerated, and maybe most of it, and so we have to take all of that with a grain of salt.
So you're going to be staying tonight. You'll be returning home tomorrow.
I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be knocking doors again on Wednesday. It's been a great experience running for state representative. I started walking and knocking early July. I've met so many wonderful people, and I've really it's humbling because even in Greenwich, there's a big socioeconomic diverse group of people, and so I've heard a lot of troubling things. I've heard a lot of concerning things. I've heard good things. So it's really giving me perspective into the work that needs to be done in our own state. And it needs to be addressed immediately. And so I'm excited to be running. I'm excited to win. I'm excited to start working hard to really improve the lives of the people around me.
Dita, thank you very much for calling in today. Have a safe trip home. Take care of yourself. So far, I understand the protesters have not gotten unruly, but one never knows. No. So
one never knows.
One never
but
knows.
I think we'll be fine. But Lisa, listen, I really appreciate being on the show, and please bring me back anytime. I love talking.
Will do. Thank you so much. Dita Bhargava from Greenwich calling in live from Philadelphia at the DNC.